sharing with you in this video how to create anything you want and know it will happen. And so the first thing that I want to share with you in this video in terms of how to actually do this is to remember that with enough attention, anything can be created. And it sounds so cliche, it sounds so simple, but I think that oftentimes the most simple things in life we often neglect. Oftentimes it's the most simple things that can be the most powerful things. And I just want you to remember that, again, if you put enough energy into something, if you put enough life force into something, if you put enough focus into something, it is going to happen. And we all know this. We all know this on some level, but we forget this because we give away our power to things that we don't even care about. And everybody knows that this is true. But again, what we do is we believe things that we have to do. We get into sort of this belief system where there's no longer sovereignty, there's no longer free will. And I'm not saying that you have to dishonor your environment. I'm not saying that you have to disrespect or dishonor any sort of rules or things happening around you. What I'm saying is that ultimately speaking, if you really want something, if you put enough focus into it, it can't not happen. And you build this sort of confidence, this image, this self-image that you can do this every single time that you actually follow through with who you say that you actually want to be on a moment-to-moment basis. And then so the second thing that I want to share with you in this video in terms of how to create anything you want and know it will happen is to be comfortable knowing nothing and owning nothing. Because at the end of the day, when we walk through life with this illusion that we can know everything or that we own certain things in consciousness, what that does is that sets you up for a massive amount of suffering. There's no need to have this sort of setup for failure, because really instead what we can do is understand that yes, of course, it's good to have knowledge. It's good to have information, so to speak. It's good to learn and to take in all the things that resonate for you in terms of information and resources or skill sets or characteristics and ways of doing things or whatever the case may be. But we also have to have that humbleness and surrender to the fact that there's going to be times that you don't know the answer, that you don't know exactly what to do, but then it's from that space of not knowing, you trust in your divine intelligence that you, again, so to speak, know, it goes full circle, that you're just going to know from that space of not knowing how to do the right thing. Because notice as well that taking action doesn't require any thinking. There's a part of you that you can sort of access in this present moment. You can call it wisdom, but again, you just sort of know what to do and you know what action to take in that moment. But the way to actually access that is by surrender all knowing completely and step into a state of not knowing at all. Just in essence, a part of you that doesn't have to think, a version of you that doesn't need to structure or plan anymore, because there's one part of you that does think, that does have structure, that does plan, and there's another part of you that has the ability, so to speak, just to surrender into that and just be not attached to it at all, and to know, so to speak, that it doesn't own it and that it's just sort of experiencing it. But on one level, it knows what to do. On one level, it's okay with not knowing that everything is perfectly happening in a way that maybe you think it should happen exactly in the way that you imagine it. And that's totally fine. You're surrendered to that. This balance of knowing what you want and then surrendering into not knowing how it's going to be created, but you just know, again, what actions to take moment to moment by trusting that divine intelligence. That's where you do this over and over and over on a consistent basis, and you start to feel more confident. And lastly, to put this all together ultimately and make it go full circle once again, understand that the way that you build confidence through this process overall is by following through with small wins over time. So every single time that you put in a little bit more attention towards something, and again, you surrender that you don't know exactly how the win is going to happen or how the result is going to happen exactly, but you're not attached to it. You just put energy towards it and you just sort of see what happens. When you do that again and again and again and again, you build confidence. And it's not because you're getting results. That confidence doesn't come through getting results. Now, I want to make that very clear, because people think that to be confident, you have to get results. That's true on some level, is that when you achieve the result, your belief builds over time. That is true. That's absolutely true. But there's another level of confidence that you can simply have by just following through with who you said you're going to be, regardless of the result. That's a powerful level of confidence that doesn't need to depend on the result. And if you do that just on a small moment-to-moment basis, maybe every single day, just a little bit, and you do that over time, and you stack up those small steps, those small wins over time, you start to feel like you can create anything you want, and you start to know that it is going to happen. You don't need to shout this to the rooftops and let everybody know that it's going to happen. Oftentimes you see that that's maybe just a waste of time. Oftentimes letting people know what's going to be created in your life just slows you down. So instead, what you do is you just walk with confidence and you just know. And with this knowing, you again feel confident because you've actually allowed yourself to get into a state of speed and momentum. When you get to a certain level of speed and momentum, you see that it just becomes sort of very likely that it's going to happen. You feel very lucky, so to speak, but you create your own luck by seeing every single opportunity, but being prepared to act on that opportunity immediately. Because so many people see opportunities in terms of things that are going to help them create what they want, but they usually talk themselves out of it, or they maybe say that it's not an opportunity, or whatever the case is. But if you're very, very prepared, if you prepare your whole vessel, if you prepare your whole being, your body, your mind, your spirit, your emotions, your every single part of you, to actually have this opportunity in your life, and then when that opportunity happens, you're 100% prepared to act on it, and then you actually do that again and again and again, you naturally build self-trust and you earn it. You earn this sort of feeling of worthiness and self-trust because you act again and again and again and again. And so this sort of consistency is what discipline is. This sort of consistency that I'm sharing with you in this video is what integrity actually is. It is what excellence actually is. It is what builds a strong foundation for you to feel confident in your ability to create even things that you've never done before. So this is what I'm talking about. This is going to help you to actually be the person that knows that you can be a fast learner. It's one thing to be good at one thing, but can you be so flexible that you're just a fast learner in general? You're good at teaching yourself things. You're good at learning things quickly. You're good at moving on from lessons quickly. You have a good attitude towards things in general. You focus on things in a very big picture way, and you don't get caught up in the small details. You know when to focus on the small details, of course, but when you do this, again, you build that confidence naturally by just being essentially a more authentic version of yourself, where you're not just doing things again because maybe you heard it somewhere or you feel like it's quote unquote the right thing to do. You do the right thing because you want to do the right thing, and you feel like there's ultimately no alternative other than to do that thing that you know is the right thing to do. But again, you actually want to follow through with the thing that you said you were going to do.